So if you don't use a template, you can still lay this out as a rectangular shape in perspective. Again, this is just showing you the beginning of that rectangle. If you crossing the diagonals to get a third of this distance between the center and the corner, and you can project that going around. Again, we've done in the past, and then connecting these to give yourself a general area of this connected piece for the elliptical shape. So really quickly, just showing you that again. If you use the template, you might be out of luck on some of them, but on the isometric one they have a larger scale, which I'll try to demonstrate just so you can see it. Again, the template, this is as large as it would be. It has the cross lines for the center marks and the angles for the 30-degree lines. And this is just a much larger one. This one just does, the way it's set up, it just has half of the scale to it. And when you look at it, it has these pieces etched out, cut out of here. And it goes to the inside and outside, so it has a couple different measurements on either side and also on the flip side of it. So when you do it, you do half of it and then just turn it around and do the other half, so you're stuck with that section. So I'll give this a try to demonstrate this piece. And first of all, I'll just make a mark here and here to be my center line. So I'm just using the template to build that up there. And then just taking a look, having it lined up and positioning it where I want it. Line up here. And just also try to remember which one you use. Right here. And it just goes half the distance over to this side. And if you make those little marks, it'll give you a crosshair to build this across. So this one I used 4.5, and on the opposite side it has it in another 1/8 inch less, 4 1/4. So I just have to rotate this onto here, and I can still see through the transparency of the center line for this, and lining this one up here. So it takes a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and heavy that up. Right up there. So you can see it just kind of creating that segment. And this one here. So that gives me that outside edge there. And then the second one, just to give it a thickness to it, I'm just going to use the 4 3/4 one on here if I can locate it. On the inside of this one. 4.5. Rotate this around to 4 1/4. So it's a little tricky, just trying to get it lined up here. Here I'm just shading a little bit as I do it, since I have it sitting here. 3 1/4. And just rotate this around. That gives me this one to work with. There kind of gives me the look of it. Still has a little drop shadow I can place in there as I go through this, which is plotting that in there so it has this secondary tone to it. And then for the smaller ones, I can flip back if I want to switch that. But if you're doing it freehand, just lay it right out there. I'll give you these templates to try. Label this in there. Here I can kind of shade it, use the template to help me angle that in there a little bit. And it makes it a little easier. Just kind of placing that on top of it. So I kind of have it pretty well situated. Now if I want to make a thickness down here, just add the same template here and drop it down a bit. 4.5. 4.25. See if I can do a little bit. And then all that leaves with you is the shading, and when you take a look at it, it's going to be cross selection. I'm just going to try a couple ways to do it. Just finding the center and just kind of rotating that across. Here's the center of this one. Again, just kind of rotate your paper and give yourself the best. So this radial shading, like I said, I'm trying to keep it pivoting from that center point out. Build it up that way. So just to get that started. And then once it's light enough, you can go back in and heavy some of this up. I'll do a couple different ways to show you. Take a bit of this tool and just blend it in. Shine of this. And still. Heavy that up. And find some of the darker tones. a very light shading part. This section underneath here to keep it sketched in there. Then you can take an eraser, do the same thing, kind of get it pliable, and go right along the edge, and you can create a highlight in there. You can use a kneaded eraser. Do this one. And give it that accent. So go right up on the edge there. So it's a subtle value change until you get to the edges, and that's where it's gonna clean that part up. And dip and change. So when you take a look at the intensity of this, it's a little bit light onto that edge. You can also put some writing on it if you like, depending on which direction. This is the back side of it. That's the top. They're similar, but they have a little slight variation on it. I'm going to try to do a couple here. See, they both have the similar highlighting on it, so you can choose which side to draw. But give it this overall shine to it. Rainbow color. DVD, CD, same disc shape.